Yeah.
So Bucky believes Mel, frees the rest of the team, and then yes.
I was saying that's when they get all he turns to him and he's like, I guess we're going to sing, and then Alexi's like, yes, and he's so happy with a giant metal thing wrapped around him.
I was gonna say, he's still tied up.
Yeah, you're not even tied up. He has like metal wrapped around him because it's like, no, you have super soldier serum too. Like some like what's her face has like special cups to stop her phasing abilities. Like Bucky came prepared to a certain degree.
Which, by the way, they set those up in the congressional fundraiser scene in DC. Yes. So Bucky must have stole those before he went on this mission.
That's awesome.
Maybe that's why he's not gonna be a congressman anymore. He's a goddamn thief.
And
he might not be one anymore. I'm just saying he's still currently.
Well, he's definitely not one now.
Are you sure?
I don't understand why you keep saying that. He's not been removed from office. He's still a congressman. Do you mean in his soul?
But what? But
you mean like in his spirit he's left it?
I'm just saying, if you're made an Avenger, why would you want to be a congressman?
Why would anybody?
I wouldn't want to be, but
we can go on these discussions for quite some time because I know someone who's been impeached twice and still in office. So let's just move on.
Yeah, but that's different. He's not.
That's not different. That's not at all different. That is, you can do whatever you want in the real world and this fictional world. So let's move on from that little sticking point.
The most unrealistic thing in the MCU is that they've got a president in prison right now.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, I think we said that in the last pod, and yet it still reached true.
This got sad again.
Yeah.
Right.
Way to go, Ken.
Sorry.
Bucky instead of taking them to the impeachment hearing, Bucky takes them to Avengers Tower to stop Val and her evil plans. Turns out Val's been busy with some suit design and hair dye.
Nice little makeover.
Yeah.
I also think it's fun that they want to storm the place with no plan, crashing through the door in their van. And then
that part was hilarious.
Then
Val comes over the loudspeaker.
The doors eventually open, and then over the loudspeaker, Val's like, "I left it unlocked. Come up." I'm not afraid of you guys. Didn't have to
beat the crap
kill all these goons.
No. Beat them to unconsciousness.
Yeah, they Batman them.
It's Batman Arkham City rules where they can all see their heartbeat still beating.
Yeah, beat them to where they want to die. Just kill me, fuck, God, come on, man.
They're all eating with straws, but
yeah.
Well, it's to the point of it's Batman Arkham City rules or Spider-Man, where it's like, oh, he falls off the side building. Oh, you saw like a web line attached to the wall, and he's saved. Although in 2 hours that webbing is going to dissolve, and he's dropping from where he is. But carry on.
Well, I just love the cops are going to be like, how the fuck do we get this guy down?
Yeah,
you know, what'd be so funny is if Red Guardian, because he thinks of himself as a superhero, not a military, so like a assassin type or a spy, even though he's gone undercover. It'd be so funny if they had trained him that he had this special like Black Widow dart wrist launcher that sends medicine into people that he's killed, and he thinks everybody's going to be fine.
What are you talking about? They're all asleep still.
No, they go to a farm.
On Soviet
the team who
farm,
comes behind me will take care of them.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
No more of my sleeping darts.
This is straight up poison. Val lets them in. Does her evil monologue about how they're all trash and how she's got a real hero now. And out walks Bob in a yellow and blue Sentry suit with blonde dyed hair. They did a good job capturing the look of the Sentry from the comics.
Much more than they did with Adam Warlock.
Yes, much better job getting it right. This leads to a fight between the Thunderbolts and the Sentry.
Is it really a
Sentry
fight,
whoops their asses. Like he is obviously way more powerful.
Enough to like throw Guardian.
Notably doesn't murder them all.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Does not kill them.
Well, he feels bad for them. He even tells them, like,
Yeah.
guys, just leave, please. Leave me alone.
And Yelena's trying to de-escalate the entire time. She's like, no, guys,
is,
like
yeah.
this, it's Bob. Like, be cool. We know this dude. Like,
The one I'm
but
surprised he didn't try and
it-
kill was Walker, though.
Yeah, that's fair. Is Walker the one who throws the first punch? I feel like he's.
I believe so.
It probably. I mean, it makes the most sense.
I think it's. Is it him or is it Guardian?
I think
Guardian.
Walker
I feel
throws
like
his
it'd be
shield,
Walker,
right?
but I don't remember.
Maybe it is the shield.
So
And this is where,
also
this is where he bends the shield too.
yeah.
Wraps it around his arm.
Yep.
So
He's just like, hope we need that anymore.
Yeah. Give you the Wakanda shield now.
The Thunderbolts then retreat because they realize they are very much overmatched. And Val tries to send Sentry off to kill him. And that's when Sentry realizes, hey, why?
They're
Why
not
would I
threatening
kill?
me.
They're no threat.
Well, it's like, why would a god
fine.
take orders from you?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I love how he pieces it together because he does it very quickly. He says, why would I attack them? Because they're not a threat to me. Matter of fact, nobody's a threat to me.
Right.
And she's like, and with the reasoning too, he's like, you said that I'm as powerful as the Avengers. One of the Avengers is a god, so why would that not make me a god by extension? And she's like, oh shit,
Mhm.
where's that button? I need.
Well, she even say like, she's like, you're such a disappointment. Like she's not even fearing at this moment still.
Yeah,
Because she got the button.
Well, she had the button for a second.
Yeah. But as she goes to press the button, Sentry grabs her by the throat and takes her up into the air a little bit in the room. And as he's about to kill her, Mel hits the button and thus murdering Sentry. And that's the end of the movie.
The end. Credits.
Yeah.
Good film.
And then they changed the name of the movie to Songbird.
Got him! Got him!
Yep. She's a hero.
She has that cool in-game music playing.
It's just like they tear off the poster and it just says Mel.
It says Mel will return.
Mel will return in Doomsday.
Yeah.
Val knows she's had a close call and immediately starts working on her next plan as they're walking out of the room. And it pivots back to the body of Bob, who is becoming dark. Ooh, black as night, becoming evil. He's becoming the Void.
What the hell is even that?
That's true.
Right.
I think we skimmed over Mel's like resistance to some of the stuff Val was having her do when they were conditioning Bob, and then she eventually gives her like a real mean talking to, and then this sort of like Mel showing up to save her is a real like loyalty moment of like you know you can still rely
you did a great
on
job. I
me
always
kind of
counted on you,
thing.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the moments that we're seeing, to your point, Mayday, is that we see as she's talking, Val's talking to Sentry or Bob. She says something that upsets him for a second, and it shows you the power surge in the room that Mel notices, and then that's when she starts to go to Val and saying, like, this is probably a bad idea. Like, we don't really know what we're doing here. We may want to step back from this project. And that's when she starts to get the a bit of a conscience to call, or at least call Bucky back and be like, hey, like things are de-escalating rapidly. So you need to like get here, or escalating rapidly. You need to get here and help out. And that's when Val actually catches her and was like, what'd you think this shit was? Like,
The shit's chess, it ain't checkers.
this is how we do things around here. Either you get on board or you get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, she gives kind of the, hey, it's not that there's heroes and villains. There's villains, and there's a person that's worse, and then there's a person that's worse than that. So you got to get on board. It would be a very real politic.
Yeah.
This is how the world works, little girl.
Yeah, very cynical worldview.
Yeah.
That makes sense for her experience.
But then, she pulls the trigger, and they both leave the room, leaving the body there. They call a team up to come clean him up. At this point, they go back to the Thunderbolts who are downstairs, kind of licking their wounds and realizing like, hey, we just got our asses whooped. We're not even really a team, and none of us like each other. I think Elena goes off on everybody, kind of breaks them down individually about, who they pretend to be and who they really actually are. Throws in Walker and his family.
But
Yeah,
it comes out that Walker is and his family are not
He's a shit
together
dad.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she storms off.
Yep. She storms off, and then I mean I know there's probably some stuff back and forth in here, but then finally Red Guardian catches up to her, and it's like, hey, you know, like what's going on? Like it starts to talk to her, and it's kind of the
This part was
big moment for Yelena, and it's great. Like there's a great conversation there,
Yeah.
where she's like, I'm just, you know, you left and Natasha left and everyone left, and I'm so alone, and just like it is this breaking point. Like she's crashing out for the young kids in the audience. Like she is just done, and she has come to a point of like almost a no return of it's like I don't know what I'm doing anymore, and like I'm just so sad, and I don't know how to find. It's like there's a moment in Ted Lasso. It's like I don't have my wings, Roy. I can't find my wings, and like it's just this moment of just like,
whoa. What is wrong?
I don't know.
Are you fucking dying or some shit?
I'm just tired. But I can't sleep and I can't eat. And I wash my hair, but I don't use any conditioner anymore because, like, what's the fucking point? I feel like the guy in the Red Bull commercial who's pushing that big rock up the hill, but he's lost his wings, Roy. I feel like I've lost my wings, Roy.
Just everything is laid out, and then Guardian does this great thing of just like being that dad that we all needed to be. Like, it's like, but I'm here, like I'm here for you, and he just reassures her, and it's great.
Well, and he had a really good example to bring to mind who she is at her core, right? Because she's been through all these things. She's been forced to do all these different things. She's tried all these different things. She tries doing the superhero thing, but it's covert ops and it's not satisfying and heroic. And his example has to do with her Thunderbolts soccer team, and the reason why she wanted to be goalie is so she could be the person that everyone else knew they could count on. And, you know, goalie is obviously an incredibly high pressure job on a soccer team if you take it seriously, right? And I love that because that's, even though they were a fake family, right? There's, as a dad, there's so many things, adventures and stories that I know about my kids that they don't even remember, right? So like their own identity is up to them and they get to be who they choose to be and all that. But I know their heart from earlier moments that is how I see them, you know? So even if one of them does something bad or regrets something, it's not turning me against who I think they are. Just in my case, I happen to have pretty good humans, you know?
Yeah, no,
but
to that same effect.
That's such a good moment.
I was, you know, there were emotions for this being the dad who was, you know, Red Guardians explaining, like, I didn't know that you wanted me there. And I felt like, you know, I'm watching, you know, my wife teaches teenagers and things like that, of teenagers, you know, that kind of do their own thing. And there are a lot of parents who have felt like they're in that position where they don't know what their child wants, but they know they have to be there regardless of whatever it is the kid wants. You know, you might say the wrong things, do the wrong things, be the wrong person at that moment for the kid. You know, they're like, you know, dad, mom, you're embarrassing me or whatever, or I want to be my own person, you're smothering, whatever it is. But he says, you know, hey, I'm here. And I think that's what she finally, you know, kind of latches on to at the very end of that speech is like, you know, you left and you dumped yourself into work. I thought that's what you wanted. Otherwise,
right. And he admits that he isn't really happy in his life. He was lying, you know, which is another parental move, trying to make other people feel safe and happy and comfortable and not worry about you, you know. I also, because I keep bringing up things I heard from the screenwriter and the director in interviews, but I ended up watching a lot of Thunderbolts interviews because I was really pleased with this movie. And in an interview with Yelena and Florence Pugh and David Harbour, they talked about how this scene wasn't in the script originally, and they had to fight to get a discussion of Natasha, their connective tissue, their, mutual loss from Endgame into this movie. And the studio originally wanted there to be as little things as you needed to know going into this as possible and not confuse people, which is crazy because they did not have that kind of advice on Cap 4. But in this one, the actors themselves fought to have a moment where they talked about them losing Natasha and not having connected since, before, all that stuff. So I thought that was such a good choice and really cool that the directors and studio listened to them, because it is the turning point of the film.
It's arguably one of the best scenes in the movie, in the entire movie, though. One of the most
Yeah.
heartfelt
Yeah.
things that they've constructed for the MCU in that moment.
So good.
I also felt like, we can finish up, that Yelena also is a mirror to the superheroes in this universe that don't get a chance to say, hey, I'm exhausted. Like, we do this. Bad guy shows up, I punch bad guy goes away, rinse and repeat over and over. And I feel like there are a lot of superheroes in the MCU that would want to say what she's saying, like, hey, I do the same thing every day, or relatively enough. Why am I still doing it? What makes me happy about that? Like, which superheroes in the MCU are truly fulfilled by doing this thing day in and day out, and why are they fulfilled by it? Otherwise, it's just, hey, this is what they do, and just like brushing their teeth, they do it every day, but there's no feeling behind it. It's just kind of motorized until they find
Yeah.
a necessary
I
reason
think there
to
might be
like.
characters who feel like that, but I think, the thing that Yelena's finding is that what I think Steve Rogers found, what I think uh, all the superheroes who sided with Tony in Civil War found, is that there's things you can do that might get you paid and might seem cool working for others, but being a superhero really and helping people is about deciding what you want to do to help people, and then doing that without anyone constricting your ability to do it. And I love how we take this, covert assassin character who's been used by multiple governments, and give her the journey that lets her be kind of following her sister's footsteps, like Guardian is giving her advice to do, in the very beginning of the movie, which is also a cool dad thing. Like that a lot of times kids don't listen to you right away, and you might even not fully understand the situation right away because you haven't really talked it out. But when you know your kids and you believe in them, you sometimes have like a thing that might take you both some time to figure out that was definitely the right call.
Yeah. All right, so then we get that speech, and then Void basically kind of shows up and does his thing, which is also I think when I was talking earlier about the third act being the punch, big, large action scene, this is where they kind of flip it on their head and use a little bit of like the first Doctor Strange, where they kind of do an inception, like, all right, we're going to go into his mind and not punch stuff, but talk things through and use some really cool visual set pieces to kind of anchor that scene.
Yeah.
When
the Void,
when the Void starts to present himself, or itself, depending on how you quantify it, it's like it does the normal destruction of things. It takes down a helicopter, it wipes it starts to shadow some people, and then eventually there's enough destruction where it starts to fall into down to the people below, because it starts with like a helicopter attack, and then it starts to affect the people on the ground, and that's when the Thunderbolts kind of step up and start to protect the people. So you have like falling debris that's gonna, that they have to pull these people out of, and they do almost kind of a fastball special thing that Captain America and Black Widow did. That she runs and jumps on his shield and pushes forward or something. Maybe pushes in the hands who's on his shield.
It's like Guardian poetry, so that they rhyme.
Yeah, exactly. And like you have moments where it's like John Walker helps, holds up a wall, and they all help him, and then it's moments where they get their hero moments in the spotlight, so that we can then it's also like setting up for the end of the movie. But they
Well, it's
get a
good
chance
because these are all these flawed, people that don't play well with others and don't have great track records. And this moment of this crisis brings out the best in them as a team. When push comes to shove, like John Walker is a dick, but he's not gonna let someone get hurt if he can help. And Red Guardian's got that pure spirit of somebody who wanted to be Captain America for his whole, his country. And him protecting that little girl is such a good moment. And then they take it away from you. It is
that was
so awesome how they
It
do
was.
not pull punches in this movie.
You're safe, little one.
As Red Guardian saves a little girl from a hunk of building falling on her, he looks at her and says, "You're safe now." And then the void shadows her.
Shadows her ass.
Yeah.
I was watching
The
a thing where they
powerlessness you feel in that moment, man.
Yeah.
I was watching a thing where they talk about how it's like a frame and a half that they use to do the ghosting or the dusting, if you will, or not dusting, but the shadowing.
Yeah.
It's because it's like if you do anything more than that, or if you do anything less than that, it feels even more incongruous with the reality of it. So like they found just the perfect sweet spot where it's just like, poof. And they're all the concept is based off of the shadows that were there after Hiroshima. So it's like, if you know the history, it's so much darker than you could even imagine. But yeah,
it's horrifying.
Well, and I think it also plays on the fact that for people who at least have seen Endgame or Infinity War, that this type of going away has precedent. Like, this could be 5 years, this could be forever. Like, the fact that they go away like this so immediately, you're like, okay, well, that little girl's pretty much gone. Like, she's not coming back, at least not for a while. You're at least led to believe that because they've introduced that kind of thing already. But he starts spreading. He's also explaining, like, which I thought was pretty cool, the conversation he had with Widow about like just going into the void, like, hey, it might just be easier to let it consume you at some point.
Yeah, because that's the conversation they have after they get out of the vault and they're up on the surface level. There's like, well, what do you do with it? She's like, I'll just push it all down. Just push it right down.
Push it way down deep.
That's right. Yeah. You get the bad advice of the boomer parent generation that everyone says and will eat you alive. I love that. And I love the funniness of that scene and the utility of it in Yelena just needing Bob to hold it together for a minute, while they get out of that facility. But then, you've got this through line of Yelena's depression, which we literally start with our main, I would say Yelena is probably the main character of this film, right?
Oh, definitely.
We see things basically from her point of view. But which is kind of cool given that her sister has often been the side character, supporting character, always cleaning up after you boys, It's cool that the quote unquote new Avengers has her set up as such an integral part of it. But she literally is jumping off a building in a movie where she's depressed, and then to get to the point where the solution is to willingly walk into the darkness, knowing you can come out again or believing you'll be able to come out again to process those feelings. It's so good from like a psychological therapy point of view. It's crazy. It's a Marvel movie.
Well, it also plays in that, we're just talking about the Infinity Wars dusting of things. So you're, again, for a split second, you're believing she's gone, and you just had the moment where she reconciles with her dad, and he watches her basically die. So you get that heart, that kind of tug at like, all right, he's about to lose another daughter right in front of him, and that how devastating that can be, especially when he just saying like, I'll be here for you, and we're going to kind of make it through this, and we'll figure it out. And no, now she's gone.
That's what you said. We're all alone. All of us.
Wait! Yelena! No, 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 no! No! No, no! Come on! Oh.
And then obviously she kind of reappears in the next scene or whatnot.
I had kind of forgotten, like, oh yeah, the whole world is traumatized because of the snap, because of the blip.
Mm-hmm.
So this does have that connection to it. Okay, I kind of forgot to make, So
yeah, and I think I don't know if I'm skipping over any story beats, but the grappling with Yelena having willingly walked into the shadow and believing that she didn't do that because she's dumb. She didn't do that because she's given up.
Mhm.
She did it for a reason. Let's believe her. And then as a team, they follow her.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Do we see them really like follow her in? I'm trying to remember now because I mean I know we get that extrapolated because we do see them.
Well, I
later on.
think we
they
only
talk about
see
it,
it
and
after
then
they've come in.
Okay.
Well, they talk about it before they go in because.
But I think they talk
I
about
think
it.
Walker,
Yeah.
Yeah, Walker says, "What
Gotcha,
if she's wrong? Like, what if she's just gone?"
Yeah.
And they were like, and I think it's a ghost is like, what if she's not?
yeah,
And they basically, and the next thing you see is like, for a minute, they're talking about it on the outside. She's already inside, kind of going through the Void's world. First, she goes through her own, so she
she goes
relives
through
that same
her
moment
first shame
over and
through.
over. Yeah,
Yeah, where she sees like the first time she walks someone into an assassination as part of her training.
Then the second
And
one
then-
Right.
is
It's
like
the same thing we've seen before. Yeah. It's pretty dark.
Yeah, and the second one is and she runs through it, and it's she runs
She's in
into
the
it where
room.
she's dismantling a gun,
Yeah,
and she's
and
the
gets everyone in
fastest. But she's
trouble.
like, I got it. Well, she didn't get anybody in trouble per se, but she's first
They
done.
all
So
get
she's
their
like, I'm
hands
safe.
smacked.
But that wasn't because of her. They were gonna get whoever wasn't first was getting their hands smacked. So she just
Yeah, but
wasn't
this is
last.
what I'm saying. If the room
If
is
you're not first,
a
you're
room
last,
of shame, the
That's what
idea
I'm
is that
saying.
Oh, hell, Ricky, I was high when I said that. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. You first, you're last. You can be second, you can be third, fourth. Hell, you can even be fifth.
well, fair
she still
enough.
feels guilt. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like a survivor's guilt kind of thing about all
Yeah,
this
there
stuff.
you go.
yeah.
Exactly. And that's when she finally gets into his room, I think it is, right? Is that the next one?
no. First, she goes into the room where
Yeah,
she's
she starts
drunk.
to see glimpses of him from her point of view in her
Okay.
world, and then
In
follows
mirrors.
Oh yeah, where
through
she's
to
drunk. You're
his.
right. That was another good one. Where she
Yeah.
Yeah.
a memory of her
Smearing
just
off
drunk
everywhere.
in the bathroom. Yeah.
So yeah, we're
and-
also led to
and-
believe that's what her life is like when she's not jumping or killing people.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's interesting that when she tries to make any change in the memory attacks her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
It's
they-
really cool
yeah.
how they did these because they have that feeling of like Nightmare on Elm Street nightmares. You know.
Well, I also
dig
wondered
that.
if it was, again, I'm not a therapist or anything, but I wonder if it's one of those kind of situations where you need to leave that memory or live through that memory as it is versus trying to, flower over it and make it better than it was. If you're gonna process your trauma,
you're gonna
you
deal with
can't
it.
paint- yeah.
Similarly to the Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, there is this idea of traveling through memories, and like if you could erase them, would that be the better option then? And there's definitely some similarity there of them traveling through their memories and then an attempt to save them or rewrite them. I'm just saying there's some corollary there.
Yeah, I just felt like, again, not as a therapist, and obviously don't take any advice from me, but it's the idea that in each thing that you do, each memory, each decision that you make makes you who you are, and the idea of trying to go back and rewrite that to make a better you in the future or what you currently are isn't how most therapy works. It's like you process through it, acknowledge that it happened, realize how it's changed your life, and then you make your decisions going forward beyond that, not retroactively. Like,
Yeah,
if
I'm
your dad
not,
was an abusive alcoholic, you don't go
expert.
back and paint him as like, oh, he was a loving dad. It's like, no, you lived through that. So maybe you'll learn going forward.
Yeah, I'm not an expert either, but I have done a bunch of different kinds of therapy in the last 10 years. And one of the ones that I found really useful was called uh, EMDR, but it has to do with repetitive eye movements while discussing painful memories. And basically you're rewiring your nervous system responses to those events and kind of re-grappling with them as the person you are now instead of basically reliving it, right? And it's a way to for people to process past traumas and change their triggers or reduce them a little bit. And I found it really useful. And I thought that this way the movie handled that kind of thinking, just like you're saying, was so just thoughtful and cool and useful, and not what I expected. You know, I was
Well, that's what I'm
really
saying.
impressed.
Especially,
Yeah.
I wonder if these are the criticisms that they had for Black Widow, because Black Widow it was criticized for its large action set piece that really doesn't really amount to anything. Like, you know,
Right.
you get the cool like fight scene of her blowing up the ship and then floating to the ground and stuff, but it was kind of unnecessary for a lot of what you needed to accomplish in that movie. I wonder if they
It's the
took that and
worst
was
part
like,
of the movie.
yeah, arguably. And so now you get this where it's more thoughtful, and then like I said, you get more of an Inception / Doctor Strange-ish, where she finally breaks into his world, or she goes and talks to him while he's kind of hiding, and he's talking about all the things he's seen, and she kind of helps him process through his trauma, and the group is there. That's what becomes even more another heartfelt moment is after he meets the Void and they fight it out, and like they kind of explain that's not what you need to do. You need to like kind of again sort of embrace it.
They have the conversation. Sorry, Ken, go ahead.
I would say, I mean, both of you just said you're both not experts, but you know who are experts? The folks at Great Notion. A Great Notion beer.
Just drink your problems away.
Taking your problems away, exactly.
One can at a time.
You know what's cheaper
our
than
link to betterhelp.com and sign
know
up
what's
with our
cheaper?
code.
There's a great tweet out there that is like, okay, so therapy costs the same amount as this Lego set, or it costs the same amount as this. It's like, what's better therapy for me?
Yeah.
And also, what is the question of how much we fund healthcare and mental health? And that's a much deeper question. But yeah,
no, I'd rather go with Great Notion and new exclusive line of beer, the Void. Just drink a couple cases of that.
That is a 14% Imperial Stout, barrel aged bourbon barrels, and it includes black currants.
There we go.
Process.
And you'll be passed out after one.
No, you'll be passed out at a half of one, and then you'll be in your own void. And
just like the Void, you won't remember shit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you wake up. What happened? Where am I? I guess everything's okay. Yelena and Bob have a very heartfelt chat before the rest of the team shows up, where she explains, "No, I was wrong. You shouldn't push that down. It actually really helps when you talk about it."
Yeah.
They all bust in. The rest of the team bust in. They're trying to figure a way out, and they eventually end up back. Well, first they go through some of Bob's memories, so that's where we get the
worst
meth
ones.
chicken. Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
One of them being the time that he was a sign flipper for a chicken restaurant while on meth.
Oh, no. Bob, you hit me with that sign one more time.
Oh, I was on meth!
And you're saying, it's like, you hit me one more time with that damn sign.
I was on meth!
Yeah. It's pretty
But
cool they didn't shy away from like actual like specific real world substance abuse, which is the thing they did in Iron Man 2, where they were afraid to go into actual alcoholism and kind of made it that his heart was poisoning Tony, so he's acting drunk.
Yeah.
This was I mean, pretty cool. Again, not pulling their punches.
They've learned.
Yeah.
I do wonder, and it's probably a conversation for after, but I do wonder, why were they allowed to do so much more with this movie? Is it just there were less guardrails because they didn't have to like Captain America had to serve a lot of purposes to do a lot of things, and this one, like,
Yeah.
you could just have the movie. We just need it to end here, and it's fine.
No, I think that's
Yeah.
100% the case. It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians of the Galaxies can be a-holes and say stuff and do things because they're the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you don't, to a certain audience, it's fine. Like, you can't have Captain America do that. You can't have, that's why Walker lost his job, is because he was Captain America. If you're the standard bearer, if you're part of the Trinity, as it were, like, you can't do certain things. Like,
Well, I also
Thor can have a
wonder-
beer,
Yeah.
but that's about it. Like, he's not.
I also think that, like, for Disney's point of view, like, post $1 billion Deadpool movie,
Mhm.
maybe they're a little more trusting of audiences to roll with some uncomfortable stuff.
Well, and I also wonder if they saw this franchise as expendable, in the fact that
Yeah.
it was like
Could
their own
be.
version of the Suicide Squad, where they're like, you know what, these
of the
characters.
Expendables.
Fair enough.
God damn it!
Where they were thinking,
no,
like,
yeah.
if this doesn't do well, we don't need it to do well necessarily. Like when it was first pitched, like, this is back when they were assigning writers and budgets for this. And, maybe, obviously going forward, they're like, all right, we need this to do well because we've had a bunch of stinkers. But when they first assigned the project, it was kind of like, these characters are side characters. We're going to put them together, and if it does well, great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Like, our franchises won't live. They can live on beyond this, and so we can
Yeah.
have a little more liberty. And then Deadpool does well, and they're like, all right, well, we can stick to the, we won't do necessarily a hard R, but we can, he's
Make it a little
widen
more
the
adult.
gap for what
Well-
people find acceptable for a superhero, or what do you call it? What are they? Not superhero, the
Anti-hero?
anti-hero. Exactly.
Well, I would also
I've been
say,
wondering. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I've been wondering if this movie had hit and then flopped, if they would have literally changed what the asterisk joke was about
That's
to something else.
I think so.
I wonder,
I think-
because this movie hits and it's got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and they're like, the joke this whole year was, and the asterisk wasn't in the movie
Exactly.
when
Yeah.
it was announced. They added it a year ago, which I imagine they were close to completion. They probably finished shooting it, and they're like, this is going to be good. Let's do this cool promotional gag thing with the asterisk, which I love. I loved it. And I think it is I'm so glad I saw the movie without knowing that.
Me too.
We haven't gotten to, but I don't mind it as a thing that's been leaked, or publicized, that's what this twist of the movie is. But I really wonder if it had flopped, if they'd have been like, oh, no. Like, it's they're not the Thunderbolts, they're the Defenders now, or
Yeah.
I think in that world, it still would have had the movie could have still played out the same, but they don't have the follow-up campaign where they have all the banners ripped off, and now it's that, because they would have just, because they even allude to, like, oh, doesn't Sam have his own team? Like, we get there eventually, so it's like they could have had a back door for that to be ready, like, oh yeah, we're here, but we're gonna plan for this regardless. But the fact that they leaned into it after the fact is due to the success.
I feel like I feel like
think
they
so.
added that, just like they got rid of whole sections for what's her name, Taskmaster. Like, I felt like they had a contingent. They probably had a different cutscene that we're not going to see. That kind of washes all of this over and be like, all right, Sam's actually the real one. You guys are a bunch of wannabes or whatever, and maybe you guys can fight it out for later.
Let's go and wrap.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's wrap this a little bit, because there's still a few more thoughts to get on, like the post credit side of things. But so they all get they talk to Bob, and Bob eventually
takes them to the science lab.
They're pulled into the science lab.
It's back into the Ox lab that we started the movie in.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he ends up attacking the Void.
Well, the Void actually locks everybody up except for Bob, so that he and Bob can have a conversation about, hey, I am you, you're me, and you're never going to be anything better than, what we are currently, which is
nothing.
Bipolar, or I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what
Bob
his actual
starts
condition is.
punching his depression in the face.
Yeah.
Eventually, he starts punching him.
Because he's goading him
and
to
like
give
at
him
that
power.
point in the movie, I'm thinking this is what they're doing. this is what they are saying the solution is punch your depression in the face. And I'm like, I mean, it makes sense for like a superhero movie, but that's not really the metaphor I would do. And then thankfully, and miraculously, the movie is so much smarter than I was giving it credit for, because Yelena comes over to hug him, to hug Bob,
Well, I mean, she
as
has to
he's
fight through all
becoming
the
more
room and stuff.
voidified himself while fighting the void.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they kind of set it up in his discussion the Void has with Bob as Bob charges him. It's like, again, we are the same, like we're the same, like, whatever you think you're going to do to me, you're just doing to yourself. But Bob doesn't, Bob sees, he has the idea of wanting to be a hero, wanting to be better than he is. And he feels like this is the only way to do it, is to get rid of the thing in front of me, versus embracing it and then, letting it be a part of you and understanding that part of yourself or whatnot. And so I think Yelena figures that out, obviously having these conversations, going through Bob's trauma, going through her own trauma, that you can't, change that or necessarily fight it. You have to, understand it, embrace it, and move on past it, or move on with it. And so I think Guardian wiggles enough out to let her through. And then she does some cool, like, flipping over table stuff to get
That's
to
another
him.
good dad moment. Cause like, he's like, I can't get out of here myself, but I can move this just enough that you could go. That's so cool.
And so she gets to Bob before Bob is completely overtaken by the Void, or becomes Void as well. And that's when I think the Void loses some of his power, because everyone else starts to kind of wiggle themselves out to then help embrace as well. Because again, she alone wasn't going to stop. I mean, she was trying to stop him, but it takes the group. And again, the idea that was put in his head prior to this by Val, that none of these people like you, none of these people care about you. The fact that they entered his mind and they all went through some of his trauma with them, to then still accept him also at the very end and be like, hey, we're all here for you, with that big hug. I was like, that is chef's kiss. That was awesome. And that's a good way to end a big.
It's so the power of friendship,
which is where we landed with
love.
Yeah, it's where we landed what we wanted Hulk versus Red Captain America to be. Is like, we wanted them to come together as a team, and they didn't give us that, and we were like, no, then they gave us this. Like, oh, so were you just waiting? Did you have that one in your back pocket, and that's why? Like, was this like initially counter programming, or was it like, well, we had this plan for this story and this plan for this story, and that's why they're so like they didn't want, if they would have done the Stronger Together storyline with Captain America, then it would have been weird to have that again in Thunderbolts. So it was like that editorial being like, oh, this is why we want to plan this.
Well,
I don't know.
Even if you had that, they presented it in such a way that I felt like you could have done the almost similar thing, but still had more punchy punch stuff with the Hulk version. Like this one was more, like I said, it was more Inception, where they're in his mind. There's not a lot of fighting. There's a lot of talking, a lot of emotion. You could have a come together moment where they have to come together to take down Red Hulk in a punch way, but you're seeing them come together and be like, all right, well, while you've fallen, I'll stand here and take whatever I need damage while you get back up, and all of us can do it together. Like, you don't have to be by yourself, Captain. Like, the rest of us are all sort of captains in our own manner, but we're here to help. You could have still had that. And at the end of the day, that's what most of these movies are, is just people helping each other. Like, the same thing happened in Shang-Chi. Like, he, also needed help as well. Like, you get that people need help, to overcome a lot of these things. It's rare that you get a one-on-one, I walk away and I only needed just myself to do it, at least in the Marvel universe. The Marvels was very, very much the exact same thing. Like, all three of them had to come together in order to like kind of like stop her and sort out their whole thing or whatnot. And so and the same thing for Far From No Way Home. Which one is
No Way Home is the last Spider-Man one.
Yeah, the three of them, you pull fucking all these different Spider-Mans from different universes to come together to help him. So
yeah,
that seems to be the theme.
Yeah, and so
like
they sort of say it again.
I was gonna say it felt
I'm
like
just
on the
saying
Captain
it's
America
good when
side.
it works. Oh
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You go ahead, Pat.
No, I was going to say it felt like on the Captain America side there was we must make this Captain America stand alone to differentiate from the other Captain America, basically to show that he is just as good as the first Captain America. They felt very like we need to have him stand up to this threat because he does not have the same powers and abilities.
I wrote this in my notes that this, and again, I don't know if this is endemic of the character or just Marvel in general, but this character in the MCU has suffered both a pandemic and a writer's strike and several re-edits in both the series and the movies that have screwed this entire thing over. Like I don't know if Captain America will survive, these two big setbacks necessarily going forward. Maybe he's just kind of show up in another movie kind of situation. Nothing really dedicated to his character. He just is now part of an ensemble piece that, hey, kind of like Banner is. Like, he shows up, he says a lot, does a lot of cool things, but he's not going to be ever dedicated or focused on in that particular way, like they did with Chris Evans' Captain America. Because again, too many re-edits, too many people, too many cooks in the pot in both projects. And you can see the result of that. And again, maybe it's to your point, Pat, they tried to shoehorn so much into his character in order to set up the universe around him, but they failed, or arguably didn't succeed in both measures.
Yeah. Well, they want to have their black superhero who is a symbol of America, and they can only very lightly brush against the issues involved in that because it's so politically charged. They're afraid of talking about it, but they the people making the movie are putting in these things like Isaiah Bradley that has tons of relevance to things we're dealing with today, with people being wrongfully imprisoned or political overreach by a president happening.
Wake up, nigga.
Like there's so much that you could do, but the fear of not making as much money is holding that back. And then also just the biases,
He's out of line, but he's right.
It's really troubling. And then on top of that, all of that, right, is where they've painted themselves into a corner and they're afraid to step in the paint afterwards. The other stuff is dealing with the fallout from Jonathan Major's arrest and being sidelined as the major villain of this last phase. And then also with William Hurt passing away, and then you bring in Harrison Ford, which sounds really cool, but then they don't want to kill Hulk at the end like they'd originally planned. There's so many of these moving pieces, and wherever it ends up is what becomes the truth of that canon, and you've got to deal with it later. It's just troubling when they don't stick the landing, and this is a film where they totally do.
I will say they totally do with an asterisk, because we have this final bit of the film.
Ian's being an asshole.
No, I mean, there's just a part.
You're being an asterisk hole.
Yeah. So they finally get Bob, to chill out. He stops being the Void. People get unshadowed, and they're all down to the street, and they spot Valentina.
Which, by the question, just one quick question: what happens with the guys in the helicopter? Are they dead?
I'd say it's blip rules. Their shadows reappear on the side of the building, and they fall to their death. So
okay, that's even better.
You're worried about it?
Everyone,
don't worry about it.
Okay.
Everyone blipped in an airplane at the time that happened. Same thing. They just blipped back, and they're up in the air. Airplane's gone. They just whoosh.
All
right. But yes, that's the same kind of movie logic to use. They're all out. They're all happy. We save the day, and they see Val and they spot her. So let's go grab her.
Val's trying to escape.
Val's trying to escape, and like no. She was about to be impeached. This is her last play to get back to safety. Let's go grab her, and let's she's gonna pay for her crimes. Walks through a tarp, and it's the press conference we had talked about previously in the movie. And she's like, "Hey, everybody, I'm Val. I'm awesome, and these are your new Avengers." And they all sign up. Apparently, they're like, "Oh, we own you now." But they have spent this movie being killed, like every stabbed, attacked, all these things, and working to be like, no, let's we need to.
Hold on. Hey, but let's be honest though, the only person who wouldn't want, or at least who hasn't shown an interest in being there is Ghost, because Yelena wanted this. Red Guardian definitely wanted this. A U.S. agent wanted this, and maybe I don't know about Bucky could give or take, I guess, but Ghost and
Bucky's being a good politician.
Yeah.
Hey, we own you now. That's politics.
Well,
Ghost is the only one that can take it or leave it.
This is I'm just
even
saying
if
this is
the
the part
story
that,
logic is a little iffy, it sets up such a interesting dynamic where you've got a superhero team who has a anti-hero CIA head as their liaison with the government. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's pretty good. It's entertainment.
For building the next story, it works. But for me, I'm like, no. If I just spent the last
why not
day and a half trying to get back to this woman who tried to have me killed multiple times, I'm not letting her. Because here's the thing:
this all is her fault. So
this is all her fault. She did this so that she wouldn't be impeached. And right now, I'm feeling like if someone's trying to fight their impeachment, we should probably just let them be impeached and taken out of power.
Well, hold on a second. Again,
Message.
I'm going back to the fact that how many people are in Thunderbolts? 5.
5. There's 5. Yes. I mean, 5 points on the star.
4 of them wanted this position though, and without her, they don't get it.
They don't. I don't. As the person who has walked a long line of death at one point and being potentially shadowed for eternity, I want justice, and I want this to happen.
But what justice?
I want her to be taken down.
Nobody died.
I'm saying you're rationalizing things because you want to make it okay, and that's fine.
No, it's not that I want to make it okay. I'm explaining to you what the logic of the people in the movie wanted.
Captain Walker.
Kareem is saying that there's a utility to allowing her to save face, and
I agree.
You're saying that you wouldn't accept that choice the way they do, but
yeah,
I kind of think these people would.
That's what I'm saying. Again, if you were
even Bucky, Bucky's the one where he's trying to do the right thing as a congressman. Now he's trying to find the right way. He's trying to find his way to do the right thing.
Yeah, but he saw how bad he was at it and how good he was at rescuing people. So if the world says, "You guys are the Avengers now, we'll give you the Watchtower," you're like, "I'm good at that," you know.
Yeah, that's just the
we obviously could have used some room to breathe to get some of their personal reactions to this, you know, what their logic was, but I didn't disbelieve it. But I do get your point.
Part of their logic was explained in the movie, though. Aside from Ghost, who we never really get very much out of, all of them wanted where they ended up at. That's where they wanted to be.
To a degree, I understand, but I'm very pro impeachment at the moment. Can we settle on that? If that's my take, is like,
well, I mean, but to be fair, but all right, not to be too forgiving of Val, but she's not the worst villain we've faced, even though she did try to have them murdered. You know what I mean? Like
repeatedly,
she didn't want. Yeah.
Not just like
they all know they're murderers, right? They're not like, we're
her murderers,
civilians.
By the way,
you know, we're the tools of this lady and have murdered plenty of innocent people. You know, like Yelena saying that like Taskmaster killed a bunch of people and she got killed, and having that sort of bleak reaction of acceptance with this person that you would assume she has some empathy for, with a shared growing up in the Red Room. I think, I don't know. I just don't think they have the same sort of like, how dare you come at me?
Well, especially when she employed all of them and nobody else would.
I will acknowledge that there's a noted factor that neurodivergent people can be seen as having an overdeveloped sense of justice, which I question why that's overdeveloped as opposed to just developed. But that's a deeper question for another day. But like, it just, I can't, it doesn't reconcile in my head, but I understand that I am probably I'm the odd man out. I'm one of 4 here, and the 3 of you have gone the other way, so it's fine.
No, I get
And
where you're
that.
coming from.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
wrong, but I think these characters are all
You're not wrong at all.
to begin with.
And it's also part of the story too.
Right.
It's part of like we're setting up pieces for Avengers Doomsday, and we're setting up pieces for other things. But I'm just like, I wish that one of them would have, mainly Bucky, would have said, no, I'm not going along with. Even if I let the rest of them carry that flag, I can't do that. Like I'm not following this line. I wanted that.
Really?
You don't get it.
The guy who killed Iron Man's parents, that's the guy that's going to be like, I put a line in the sand.
Yeah, he's tired
that's
of
what I was
listening to
thinking.
go.
No, that's
He's
not the guy
tired
who
of
does
taking
it.
orders. Okay.
No,
That's not the
I
way he
can
does it.
actually see. I agree with Ken. If anyone
Of
were
course
going to
you
put a
would.
line in the sand, because he has been a tool against his will before, but I can also see him rationalizing.
But against his, again, that's the whole point, though. You say against his will. Val didn't force anybody. Val didn't force any of these people to do what they did.
But
they all made a choice.
But that's why I think I could see Bucky signing on. It's like, I need to be the adult.
Well, but we did see all of them have that sort of positive reaction to being cheered on by the crowd a couple times, both
That's
during
my
the
point.
fight
Like,
and
they wanted
after.
that.
So I feel like that validation, especially for people who have had such, regret and public, I don't know, defamation. I don't know.
Yeah,
I could see it going either way. I could see it being written
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah, many of them I totally understand. I'm just saying that it feels wrong for me, but I understand too. For any number of reasons, it does work. Like if you, the maths, but there's definitely a part of me that's just like you just fought against her to a certain degree for the whole movie, and now you're like, okay, yeah, like let's take the fancy name and the new suits. Although they never get John Walker a new shield, he still has that burrito looking thing. I don't know, or taco.
He does get a cool beret after jokes earlier in the movie about him wearing a hat, as Yelena and Ghost refer to his helmet, and then he actually gets a hat, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
So, but yes, that was my nit to pick at the end there.
Sure,
but it does set us up for fun stuff down the line, so I get it. I'm just like, if Valentina spent all that time trying to kill me, I'd probably not be on her.
She really didn't spend all that time, though.
Yeah, she did.
She sent them after each other, and then they showed up at her front doorstep, and she was like, "All right, I'm going to use my big gun to get rid of you guys."
Yeah, that's only two.
Each other. She tried to burn them.
Oh,
she sent in the strike team after that. She had Bob try to kill them.
The strike team wasn't meant to kill them, though. It was meant to get Bob.
She did tell them to use non-lethal.
After they arrived, they were already ready to use lethal force, and then
she told them not to, though.
When she found out Bob was there. Yeah.
Right.
No.
So
when she found out Bob was alive. Yeah.
Right. So the first
regardless, though, she wasn't trying to kill them.
With regard, she sent the strike team to kill them.
Okay.
And then
Guys.
she said, after
we got to move on.
He was
from
gonna.
this one.
Yeah, it's all right. We're almost there, guys. The movie has wrapped, and we are now at the end credit scene. We have a very good end credit scene where the new Avengers are on a Wheaties box, and Red Guardian's trying to use it to get a girl's number, get her digits, as it were.
No.
I think he was just trying to show that
he's just wanted
on
to
a
be
Wheaties
recognized.
Box. Yeah.
Yeah. He was pointing to get her to see that he's the guy.
Because he mentioned that he wanted to be on a
picture.
Wheaties box at the very beginning of the movie.
Actors going to get their photo taken in front of a billboard they're on.
I also wonder if he was testing out the mustache.
I don't think he was asking her out at all.
You really dug in on that mustache, aren't you?
I think it was a combination.
Well, because he's got the beard on the box, but he's like, like she wouldn't recognize him without the beard, because he's got a mask on for the top part of his head. The beard is what's aside from the fact that he's giant and wearing a red
I think
suit,
if he was just trying to get dates, he would have been in full costume. He wanted someone notices when he didn't. He wants to be able to plausibly tell himself they recognized him as an Avenger.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I think anyway.
Immediately runs away and puts the box of cereal.
That was hilarious. Not only runs away, but puts the box down.
It's great.
And then we get the next cutscene, or I guess it's an extension of it, where he gets back to the tower and they're talking about their next mission.
Well, this is where I would pick nits.
Yeah, they get back from the mission. We see that they all have new suits. This is an extended time period since the last one, and they're
This
like,
is the
"Oh,
after credits one, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
This is the post credits one.
The first
as
one's
opposed to the
mid credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh yeah, well, we're still the Avengers." Well, no, I had a fight with Sam about that, and that didn't go well. And most of them have new suits, and Alexei has found a good workaround for the name. He's like, the Avengers with a Z.
Well,
and he
it is important to note that evidently Sam has copywritten the Avengers name.
That's my question. Who is backing Sam?
Well, I don't think
Pepper?
anyone has to back you to file a trademark. If you just file it with the U.S. Patent Office or Trademark and Patent Office.
But I mean, Val's part of the U.S. government. I feel like she can get that pretty much turned in her favor pretty quickly.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe Pepper, because Pepper's got deep pockets and she can fund.
Don't you fucking bring Pepper into this. And after all we went through.
Who? I mean, Sam probably has. Yeah. If all of
Maybe
the original,
you may have missed the podcast where he was up in arms about Pepper not supporting young Peter Parker in his new No Way Home adventures.
Yeah.
Did she actively unsupport Peter Parker?
No, this is just part of the connected universe thing where she doesn't exist anymore.
It just bothers you that you didn't know what Rescue is up to?
Pretty much. And
that also that Rhodey, Happy is under investigation and she's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, can't vouch for him.
Yeah. That's where that comes
from. Yeah. But anyway, what were we gonna say, Pat?
Did you guys watch?
Okay, well, so while Mayday is working on that, I was gonna say I don't like the characterization of Sam in this, and I don't like what feels like they're setting up to me. And it may be a leap in logic, but like I said earlier, I just get the vibe we're gonna have Sam's Avengers versus Bucky's Avengers in the same way we had Iron Man versus Captain America in the lead up to the Secret Wars 2015 comic book series. And it's not a fit. I don't think it works. I don't see the rationale behind it when you've done so much work having Sam and Bucky get on the same side. And it seems like such a petty reason to have them be at odds. It's not because, spoiler alert for the Time Runs Out comic and the Hickman New Avengers run. But Iron Man gets at odds with Captain America because Iron Man is trying to stop a multiversal cataclysmic event with the idea that he may have to destroy entire universes, entire Earths, parallel Earths to save his Earth, which Captain America obviously cannot abide by. That seems like a much bigger reason to be at odds than copyright infringement.
So you're telling me it's uncharacteristically that Bucky would side with Val instead of Sam. Interesting that you say such a thing.
Well,
hold on. Is it uncharacteristic? Because I feel like that's most of his character until like the last couple of years.
It's the character in like their first interactions, and then from then they've built on it and they've built up a better camaraderie.
I am more concerned because we are led to believe that this is in the future from the events of the current movie. So a lot of it will depend on what the new Avengers have been up to and if they've made a mess of everything or if they've done a good job. I'd like to know why Sam is suddenly like, I need to form my own Avengers team.
Yeah, with hookers and blackjack.
He already had decided that at the end of the last movie, which is before this. So we don't know how that's going. I think you might be giving that joke a little too much importance. We might find out that Happy Hogan is the one who filed the paperwork for that, or you know what I mean? And then it got reported in the news, and that's where Bucky's hearing about it. I don't know that this will be the major conflict between the two teams.
I do wonder though if how serious they are about this new Avenger thing. Especially with the makeup of the team itself. I'm like, if they can't use Sentry/Void at any point, how useful or powerful is this team against anything else? I mean, they can't go into everybody's mind every time they show up.
Or can they?
Maybe. Maybe they can get. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe they can get Bob to touch everyone. But I'm saying again, I know they have three.
That sounds even worse.
You got the Bob touch. You're fucked now. But yeah, I get that you have three super soldiers, so to speak. But I'm like, the Avengers still at least had Hulk, a god. They had Iron Man, and so I'm like, they don't have that versatility to go against anything even remotely close to Sentry or anything else like that. Like, how effective are they as an Avenger team?
Oh, I don't know. And I think if I'm looking at the problems that we could see after this movie, I think you're hitting on some of them. But we will see how that goes. I don't really know where they go from here with this. There's a lot of fun.
They finally recruit Kate Bishop, damn it.
Nope.
She's going to be on the other Avenger team that they're making. Apparently, Kamala Khan's got going on.
Yeah, I like it.
So we got 3 Avengers teams potentially.
Mayday, you had a question if we had seen something before. I think there's a disconnect.
And what was? And then I guess at the very last cutscene we get the Fantastic Four ship. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is crashing back to Earth. I think is that what they're doing?
It's in orbit around Earth, I guess. And it's funny too because I heard people talk about, or I saw some things like, "Hey, try not to pay too much attention to the credits as you wait to the end." And then in the credits it shows Fantastic Four theme, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, then I know what's going to happen here." Which I could have already anticipated, considering the timeline is the next movie in theaters is Fantastic Four, so it makes 1,000% sense. It's not a huge leap to get there, but
so they get stuck in time, I guess, at the end of their movie.
I think they jump universes.
I think it's multi-dimensional madness.
I guess that makes sense because they're in some sort of like futuristic.
They're in an alternate timeline where universe. They have, like Tomorrowland. Like, oh yeah,
okay. Now I wonder, do they bring their mutant son? And is that how we get mutants?
There you go. Mutant son starts to propagate things.
I mean, yeah, I forgot he's a mutant, huh? Maybe is he a mutant right now?
I haven't read the most recent Fantastic Four.
Last iteration he wasn't, so I don't know. It looks like Mayday is unable to reconnect.
Okay, well we'll wrap it up and then give him his dues, or their dues.
Yes.
Absolutely. I had one more thought, but now it's gone. So here we are.
It's been a long, exciting. Oh, yep.
Yeah, it's been a long, exciting thing. I was gonna say there's definitely, a talk that could have happened at another time too of other iterations of what the Thunderbolts were. Like, if you didn't want to see Bucky, would you have preferred to see Baron Zemo in here in that same role as the de facto, like you considering you're putting him on this team with at least 2 other super soldiers, and his entire talk against supremacy, like he's got Red Guardian and John Walker, who he does not like. Like, there could have been interesting back and forth there, but I think I don't think Zemo's on the raft. I think he's off in a Wakandan jail, so I don't think he's getting out anytime soon. So
I mean, it would have been different to have him as kind of like the what's the guy's name from the A-Team, as like the guy with all the plans and stuff.
Hannibal Smith.
Yeah, as the kind of the planner, that would have been cool too. But again, the idea of another cishet white guy on the team again, it'd be different if we didn't have what's her name at all and show up in this movie. Like, if she wasn't wasn't an available character to use. I'm like, all right, well then you work with the pieces you have. But like, you had her and you got rid of her when you could have had 3 women on a team, and with different varying degrees. Again, I think her ability to mimic was also just as powerful as having an extra guy who's strong or whatever.
I also wonder, they may not have known what to do with that. I think too.
Yeah,
I think it's.
I feel like it's already built in with her relationship to Yelena. Like, they have history.
I don't mean with their history. I mean with her power set.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Also, probably. Like, the character who didn't really have too many lines. Like, she's not a strong presence on screen in that regard. And like we already had Ghost, who was kind of like very like she was on the line as things were of her interacting and imparting her character and bringing her personal presence to the screen. Like she was on the fence quite a bit. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed them all, but I do think that the Taskmaster would have been an even harder sell with a character who very rarely speaks. But
well,
you know,
you have
3.5 hours, so I think I'm tapped. I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I also think it's kind of tough if then you have 3 of the team members are from the Black Widow movie. It becomes even more Black Widow centric. But you are right. We did it, guys. Kareem, this is where you are putting in Mayday's social media stuff. So I'm going to pause. There it is, popping up for everybody. Thanks again, Mayday, for joining us tonight. And we will talk to you again soon. Have a good one, everybody. Good night. I hope you listen to this in pieces.